Okay. Just let me know when you're ready. Now, T, once I get ready, underneath that blue tape, there's a button. Can you feel it? Or you need to be close because when them cars come off, you need to hit it. Huh? I understand Gabriel's right there, but I need you to do that, please. Is that good? Oh. All right, I got it. We good? Everybody ready? All right, I'm starting it. Keep your eyes on it. Okay. Well, you may stop it. All right. All right. Looks like we're already to a rough start here. Bo in the lead, followed by Tim Hall and Jason Howard. We just recently installed track stop buttons on the track at the end there by Dead Man's Corner. That way our track marshals can stop the track, especially whenever a car comes off at the end of the high bank there where Timmy is there putting the yellow car on white. Sounds like we're fixing to do a restart here. As soon as I get word from my brother here. Doing a restart? Start delay 10 seconds.
Should clear once you hit that start.
Okay. If it doesn't, do you want me to board it out and then restart it?
We'll have to.
Okay.
Sure. Once you hit that start, though, it probably will.
All right. We've also done some modifications to the software here. As you've seen, we were just trying to figure those things out, trying to get everything polished in here. All right, here we go. Cars were moving backwards. He's got his braid swapped. Let him know that his braid swapped. He needs to swap the wires on the front of the car.
On your braids up. They said your wires are swapped.
You were going backwards, Bo? Huh? Yeah, just swap those and you're good. All right, P's been hit. Is it on? Excuse me.
It's still going back.
Swap one with me. So all you gotta do is reverse polarity to make it happen. They'll figure it out.
It's gonna do the race in reverse like you're. Where's Dad?
I don't know.
Or did he be here?
Well, as you can see right now, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with some of the cars. We should be going back racing here shortly. My brother is right now working on Bo McPherson's car. He had a swap braid issue. I don't know if you guys could hear that about us talking about it earlier, but looks like he's about to get her. All right, looks like we're about to go green again. All right, let's start this race again. 10 seconds. All right, here we go. Already got a few off there in Dead Man's Corner. Here recently, also, I've noticed a few people commenting on that on Facebook alone, they're not able to get a full screen mode. We also live stream this concurrently with Twitch and YouTube. And I have seen on both YouTube and on Twitch that they are full versions of them. We also are going to try to make it where that you can download these, especially in the future when we start our series, which will be limited to 12 people, that you can download it and keep it for your records, especially if you're a racer. Of course, I know our guys here, they're racing tonight, they come back and they view these races and they try to compete with who's got better times, trying to always compete, keeping their cars faster and faster each time they come out. Which is what we want. We want people to tinker with their cars within the rules, and we want them to make their cars as fast as possible, because usually when the faster they get, the better they handle. Let's go to the pits section here. And you can see my brother's working there on a red car. I don't know whose car that is right off the moment. But there's been several issues happening right now. I think Tim just said that he hit Sam possibly. Maybe it messed the car up. I'm not for sure 100%. Maybe you guys can hear from the microphone that's out there for the track. Red maybe took a ride there. I think he's back in actually. Glenn Burden there. Here also in the future, me and my brother, we talked about it earlier today, is a lot of the guys kind of get somewhat impatient sometimes when it comes to starting a track. So we're planning on in the future putting buttons underneath each one of the driver's panels and letting this kind of automate itself. Uh, and if you're on red or black, would be dictative of if you have to put the cars back on for the individuals. So everybody will be basically turn marshals to the outside lanes. But of course, in the Cup Series, the Fairview IT Cup Series that's coming up, that's going to be limited to 12 people. There will not be track shutoffs unless the track marshal shuts it off. And the only reason they would shut it off is if they can't get to the car in a convenient amount of time. Got us a little bit of a race there between orange, green, and blue. Tim Hall just taking the lead from Jason Howard. Last time Tim raced on this track with his FCR, he had it really dialed in there, and it seems to be a continuation to this week. Looks like that car on, I believe to be orange, took a ride for white there for a lap. I believe that's Glenn Burden's car there that came off there in the high banks. Respect for Glenn Burden actually putting his car back there where it came off instead of putting it right there where it fell. Another wreck there at Dead Man's Corner. To see if we can diagnose a little bit of what's happening down here at Dead Man's Corner. Seems like there's a bunch of abrupt braking going on. These guys have got somewhat of a rhythm going on right now. But you can see some of the cars on the lower lanes, like yellow, for instance, there with Steven, kind of a little bit slower coming around. And sometimes what happens is people will end up hitting you in the back end if you're not with pace. But like I said, this is our beginner's class, so we are all trying to learn here and figure out how to get that pace. See my wife putting Jason back on there. .33 seconds left in this first heat. Tim Hall's got everybody by 2 laps, it seems. Here, Glenn there saying he's fixing to send Tim for a ride there. Tim behind the start line. As I said, he didn't catch that lap. Glenn Burden actually breaking out because he rode on Glenn's lane. You can see that by the black outline there. All right, we just got a few seconds left here in the first heat. You might have seen me there leaving. Went and picked up pizza for the guys from Kips to Go. I'll tell you what, Kips to Go, these guys love that pizza for sure. So we usually call them when the guys want a little bit of pizza, and Kips to Go delivers it here. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty good stuff. In individual boxes even. So anytime you guys race here, if you're looking for a little something more than just chips, snacks, candies, and stuff like that, if it's a big race night or if we're having a good sized crowd or whatever, we will make orders to Kips to Go. And he more than willingly brings it here, as he's a race fan himself. Take a quick look at the guys there, getting their stickers, getting ready out there, running their cars in, cooling them off, putting oil on the bushings, preparing the braid, and putting a little glue on the tires, getting ready for the next heat, which will start in a minute and 42 seconds, as you can see on the TV there behind Tim Hall working on his car. Let's take a look at the high score leaderboards for our pinball. At the end of the month, we take a snapshot of who's in first, and they get free track time here at Lanes Raceway. And we reset the leaderboards at the end of the month, which the end of the month is coming here pretty shortly. And we also have a live tournament going on right now on our Rush pinball table. It costs 2 credits to get into the tournament, and basically you just hit a tournament button and you got a chance to win some cash prizes. So $45 seconds till we go back green. People still working on their cars. See if I can go live real quick with a new camera setup that my brother just installed, and maybe I can show you guys how this pizza comes here. All right. So now we got us a little camera here. He brings it in these individual little boxes like this right here. And we got cheese and pepperoni. We just keep it in a warmer for the night. Whatever we don't sell, we end up taking off. See Bo McPherson there giving you a thumbs up. Sam's having a good time there on red. It's like my brother had to cross over to orange to get that car. Sometimes when you run in there 3 deep, these things happen. Looks like that's Gerald's car there that took the hit. Gerald, also known as Wolfman. He let me know recently that he used to be a world famous wrestler. So I looked him up, and sure enough, he was. Got us another car off there on black, it seems. Maybe. Okay, it was Steven's car. Steven come in to us last week and he asked, he says, hey, is there any way that you guys can make me a custom body? And we made dip dogs, which is some hot dogs that I boil in some barbecue dip, and we sold them for a day or so. And Steven, he really enjoyed them. He says, when are we getting them dip dogs? And I told him, I said, well, I'm going to have to make a little bit more dip. So he wanted to make his car up like a dippity-doo dog. So we took an English Bulldog representation after my dog that recently passed in last November, Reuben, and we put him on the front end of it, and we put Dippity-Doo Dog on it. Hello there, Jose. I see where you said hi several times. Hello to you. Hope you're enjoying the racing out there. Ooh, we just got a car come off the lane there at Dead Man's Corner. Well, we're sure glad to see you here again. Go back racing. We got a little bit of a tight race in there on blue and purple. It seems like they're just battling it out there. That would be Tim Hall and Bo McPherson, our top two right now. So keep an eye on them. Blue and purple. Really battling it out. Bo McPherson last night come into the shop and he says, Donnie, I'm wanting to buy a NASCAR. He says, give me that Lightning McQueen. So I pulled Lightning McQueen out of the thing, gave it to him, and he says, I want to get in tonight's race too. And he just come off of a win yesterday. He was racing in our children's event, which of course he isn't a child, so we didn't get a whole lot of people in to race the rental race there. And he ended up doing us a favor and getting in it. And he ended up taking home a win. It was him and the guy right next to him there, Jason Howard. And they were having a ball. I could hear them from in here. And it's always good to hear them laughing. Got two more cars into each other there in the crook of the track. Looks like Sam and Glenn got into each other. Oh, we got us another big wreck down there at Dead Man's Corner. That was a hard hit right there. We got some down here on the high banks here. Looks like three cars got into each other. Sam and I think that might be Glenn, maybe, on green. And Stefan also are on orange. It's always a risky thing if you come over trying to get over top of a guy on the inside of you and try to make that pass. Sometimes you got to make that choice, though, especially if you're racing for one of these podium finishes here at Lanes Raceway. And this tribal being a moderate size tribal, the majority of the time it feels like you're in the corners. So you have to make that decision, but that's on each individual whether they want to try to pass them on the straight stretch or the corners. That's why I always encourage in the pits, if you block your car, put it on a block, make sure that it's good and level and really freed up. That way that you know there's nothing holding you back from passing people on the straight stretch, because that is always the safest way. Another tactic that people tend to use sometimes is they'll just get right behind them, and I call it the intimidator factor. After, of course, the late Dale Earnhardt, that you just get behind them and just ride there, and if you're better than them, maybe eventually you'll spook them up a little bit enough that they'll go ahead and wreck off the track, and then you'll coast past them and then make a few laps before you have to do it again. That loud screech you just heard, I don't know whose car that was, but we got a big wreck there on the backstretch. But that loud screech is the gears getting stripped out on these cars. Need to get a tire tool. We sell them here. Most of these guys by now, though, have tire tools, but just need to tighten up that gear a little bit because they've gotten loose from taking hits or just chattering going around the corner. Because all we do here at Lanes Raceway is spray these tracks with light glue. We don't go into a big ordeal about, gluing the corners every race and stuff like that. But on the orange track, we tend to glue it quite a bit more, as it's more of a difficult track. So we will glue those corners a little bit harder to help people stop, especially when they're getting used to it. And after this race, of course, the racers that will continue in this Duel GRC race will continue right over to the orange race. As you can see there, blue and purple, Tim and Bo just back and forth with each other, just giving it everything that they can give, neck and neck. Got another car down here on the high banks. That's Gerald there, looking at that car, seeing if everything's all right. Might have an issue there. He's probably going to want my brother to take a look at it. On Wednesdays here at Lanes Raceway, we have a half-off day. So if you guys are watching this and you're somewhere near, or you want to make a special trip out here, it's a good day just to come and have a good time, and you get half off of track time that day. And also at that, in the evening, we hold pinball tournaments, and it's a little something different. And it's just a little live tournament, point-based tournament. Everybody gets to play every one of the pinball tables, and then the points are added up to see who wins. That gear is sounding rough on somebody's car. Don't know whose car that is, but shortly if it doesn't get fixed soon, we're going to find out who it is, because that car will just sit there once that crown gear gets completely stripped out. The crown gears on these cars are literally just plastic, so it doesn't take much. that was a good reason and to not stop in that dead man's corner. As you seen there, the car, I believe it was on orange, maybe, was kind of stalled there in dead man's corner, and then the other cars come in and just plowed them down. Because once these cars come around that dead man's corner, they're carrying so much speed, the back end kind of steps out a little bit. I guess you could say like in a controlled drift. And when it steps out like that, if there's a car stalled and it's just sitting there, you're hitting it with the full force of the rear end of the car. It happens, and you know, sometimes gears strip out. Sometimes guys have issues with the triggers and the controllers and stuff like that. But and sometimes it's just a learning phase for people to, not try to come off the track as soon as the track starts. A little bit more difficult here on the tri-oval track, as it's not the longest tri-oval. It's a moderately sized tri-oval, so these guys are constantly coming down through there, and it's like an onslaught. So if you're trying to learn, I mean, it's a good track to learn on because there's not a whole lot of hard corners, but at the same time, it is also a very frantic style tri-oval. I've raced in several tri-ovals throughout the years, and I can attest to you to let you know that this is a fast tri-oval for sure. Yeah, that is sad. I see the sad emoji go across the screen there. This has recently been added. It's new to me also. But I can see the stuff going across the screen. It's kind of cool to see you guys' reaction whenever you see these cars wreck. That's just part of the racing, though, for sure. These guys, they know that from the beginning. If you're on black lane or you're on red lane, you're going to collect the most trash for sure. So, especially on those lanes, those are the lanes you really want to try to, if you can, if you got the reaction, to kind of keep an eye in front of the car in case somebody does come off. You can let off the trigger and not completely demolish your car. Perfect example right there is we go to Dead Man's Corner. You can see where those cars ended up, and you can see where Bo let off just in time to not hit that wrecked car there, Bo being on purple. See Steven there in a nice Cardinal shirt, getting his stickers prepared to go into the next heat. Sam rolling his car over on its back right now, getting it plugged up and ready. back fixing to go green. I don't know. People may or may not get this thing stopped. All right, yeah. Seems like guys need a little bit more time there in the pits. I'm fixing to take a live cam out there and see what's going on, see what's happening with these cars here.
Oh, same things last night. Me and Tim battling it out, lap to lap.
Yeah, it looks like y'all got a pretty good battle. Neither one of you getting an inch. Is this Tim? Is this Tim? Tim, what's going on out there, man?
I got a guy chasing me, and he's chasing me hard. I'm gonna have to put something down this lap here and show him what's going on.
We're gonna throw him off.
You're going to throw him off, you say?
Might have to. So I get that extra lap in,
I feel that. I see where that we had a little bit of a delay here. I was wondering what was going on here. What was the delay?
Tim's doing Tim stuff.
All right, looks like we're about to go green. Y'all have a good time. The big coast there for Tim Hall. Instead, man, after victim. Close call there for Bo McPherson. Looks like Bo McPherson comes there off on black. Not what you want to see. Close race still yet between Tim Hall. Big wreck going off the edge there. Once Tim off of the track, I can feel the frustration now. Good battle between Bo and Tim here. As you can see, neither an inch. It's a give and take around here. 16 seconds left to go. Bo comes off there, and that'll give Tim another lap just in that few seconds. Ooh, and Bo takes a big hit there. We get our replay set up. Eventually, we'll be able to see exactly how these wrecks take place. Ooh, well, that one hit the screen. Stickers flying off cars around here. If you're ever wondering what a slot car garage box looks like, you can see these guys here. They take this very seriously. And that's lane rotation. Fellow racer here, Tom Payton. Tom, what do you guys say today?
Yeah, it's been a different race today in the GRC class. It's been different.
Are you excited for the NASCAR race coming up? Are you going to get in that?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I may not.
Tom Payton just recently got him a NASCAR last night also, and he might be or might not be getting in the race shortly. I know a guy right now that's probably going to end up getting in that Cup Series race, the one and the only, Bo McPherson.
You got it right. I'm probably going to end up running it.
Bo, let me ask you a question, man, if you got time. Do you think you're going to be able to come back and get 3 in a row Dubskis here?
If Tim makes a few mistakes, then yeah, I think I can do it.
Because if you do, this will be your 3rd win in a row. Am I not wrong about that?
You're right. You're all right.
Well, you know, we're always trying to break records here at Lanes Raceway, Bo.
Beat on Tom's record right here.
Yep, Tom right now, the current record holder for 2 in a row, tied with Jay Latham. Actually, and I think Tim joined that crew also last night with 2 in a row.
Yep. Me and Tim that's our rival. That's my rival now. It was Eddie, but now it's Tim.
Yeah, for some reason or another, Eddie couldn't make it tonight. But he sure does love the racing. His dad, on the other hand, Glenn Burton, he did make it tonight. And Glenn always, as you can tell, vigorously working on his car. You see Glenn here putting oil on his bushings, making sure everything is freed up as it possibly can be, giving himself the best opportunity he can to get that podium finish. Seconds as the race starts. Hopefully people here will want some pizza later. We sell it here. OT. All right, I'm back in the booth now. I see where Ed Howe, a fellow slot car racer, says, glad to be able to watch from home. I will be able to start coming and scratching the itch of my trigger finger soon enough. Ed Howe used to race with us down in the basement when we were all just having our own little kind of club, I guess you would say, of slot car racers. And we all really got really interested in racing the open wheel modifieds and the super late model classes. We all, eventually every one of us that was racing down there ended up getting one of these specially made bottles out of like a milk jug. And they looked really, really good. I might see if I can get one of those real quick as we take a brief intermission before this race gets back underway. So I got one of the cars right here. This is one of the cars that Ed and all of us used to race. This is currently my dad's car. You can see in the top left the live feed. This is what the car looks like. We want to eventually get more of those bodies like that. There's a new guy that makes them now, and he makes them a little bit more tougher. but a little bit more lightweight, so they're a little easier to drive. Because one thing about those bodies was they were so heavy that they were kind of top heavy, and it made it a chore to drive. But I could see something like these super late models coming back like that, and really having good races here on the circle track for sure. As we see here, orange and purple, another battle fixing to be ensued as Glenn takes over Jason Howard there on purple. Ooh, and a big wad up there with Bo McPherson and looks to be Tim Hall on his lid there on the backstretch. But the big battle right now that we're looking at is between Glenn Burden and Jason Howard. Glenn Burden there on purple with the shorter lane, able to turn quite a few more laps, maybe solidifying maybe a lead in front of Jason currently, unless Jason can carry a little bit more speed there on orange. Oh, we got somebody with a bad gear there on yellow. It looks to be Bo is stripping a gear out. Loud squeals, never a good thing in slot car racing. Might just be real simple, quick turn of the wrench. Might not be completely lost cause. Because usually when you hear those squeals, it's every other tooth possibly that's just not making full connection. And you just kind of round the edges. But if gone long enough, you can completely destroy one of those crown gears to where it's just flat almost. There is no mountain peaks. See if we can go to the pits. I doubt that's in the pits view, but barely in the view. In the top left corner, you can see him working there on the car. Yeah, I think that's a gone gear there as Tim hits Mo there in the side there. I think it might be time for a new gear. These cards, if they take too much hits in the back too, the motor tends to pop up on them, and it makes a mesh issue too in the rear end. So. Sounds like it might be a pinion problem, it sounds. But I know before the race started, Bo come in here and bought a brand new pinion, so that's kind of abnormal to see. Really hate to see it with such a close race between Tim Hall and Bo. But as you know, that's how racing goes sometimes. I know the few times that I went and watched my brother race, when he would race dirt track, uh, he'd have to put the thing in the trailer a lot sometimes. Just minor damage would trailer you for the weekend. But one thing I do enjoy more about dirt track, or that I do enjoy more about slot car racing than dirt track racing, is that tempers don't tend to flare as hard because you're dealing with $100 cars versus $100,000 cars. That guys out there really take it serious on the dirt tracks. But as always, this is a good racing going on for those that, when the season's down for racing dirt cars and drag cars, slot car is and can fix that little niche that the racers want to continue to be competitive racing wise. As Glenn Burden now took over Jason Howard, with Jason Howard fighting with everything he's got right now currently on orange, and a hard fight at that, because it is hard when you're on the upper lanes to fight with people on the lower lanes, as they have an advantage of sheer length. But both of them did fairly well on that last rotation. But I'm fairly certain that Bo was probably out of this race now that he took probably 30 or so seconds without being able to turn a lap. I'm here. I'm here right now with Bo. Found out what the issue was. The issue, Bo let me know, was that the pinion got put on backwards. This happens, as you know, everybody here is learning, and that's the big squeal you was hearing out there. I hate it for Bo, because just like I was telling everybody here, I just sold him that pinion, and I was like, man, surely that pinion ain't already bad. But
No, it's not bad. It's solid. It's just I put it on upside down. But I
So,
might
Bo-
run next race, and I might shrink up series. Now I don't really know.
yeah, so you're done with this race then? You're not going to try to get back in it and
I'm
turn
gonna
the
give me
pinion?
some food in my belly.
All right, well, that's always a good thing. When you get the food in the belly, the mind works better, and you'll be ready for that NASCAR
Exactly.
race, to get 2 in a row on that NASCAR
So I can
race.
beat Tim again.
Yeah. Well, Bo, I thank you for your time.
No problem.
Better catch it. It's getting ready to start us. Yeah, I can make it on my little trigger. I'm here.
All right, looks like a car stalled there on black. It'd be Glenn Burden. sometimes the brushes on these cars, they get a little bit flat. When they get a little flat like that, you got to fluff them up a little bit so that they get good connection. Ooh, and we got contact there in the high bank. Jason Howard and Glenn Burden both battling for second place. But it looks like Sam now in the mix here on purple and has a good opportunity to gain quite a few laps over Jason. But it's still anybody's game as we still have 3 more rotations to go. So this will put, right now Jason's going through the high lanes and he will end up finishing on green lane. So that last lane on green, he should be able to put in quite a few laps. But everybody has to go through the high lanes as that's just part of it. But once you've been racing slot cars for quite a bit, you know, you can kind of see if there's going to be some competition, if there isn't. Right now, Sam on purple, so his next lane will be blue, followed by, or next lane will be black, followed by yellow. So he's got 3 good rotations here. So if I was to be someone that would take a guess, Sam will probably end up taking Jason in the meantime. As you can see, Sam and Glenn both putting in really good lap times. Both of them on the lower end, so they got less track to make up, as we've been talking about here. That's why I think Jason is possibly in a little bit of danger here, as he's on the higher end of the lanes. Can he make it up on green in his final rotation? He could, and maybe get a podium out of this. But like I said, I believe that Sam is shortly here, maybe even within this rotation, going to take Jason Howard off of that podium at this given time. Following close behind Sam is Gerald, and with 238, a little bit harder going to be for Gerald to catch Sam. So as of right now, Tim Hall, of course, in first place. Not much to be said there, as his car has just been running immaculately all night long. Before Bo stripped out his pinion, was his competitor for sure, as Bo and Tim were quite competitive until the devastation took place. So this is now officially going to be a battle for second and third place, unless something catastrophic happens to Tim, which I don't see that happening as smooth as that car's running. That was a smart decision by Tim, as he seen that cluster happening. You seen him let off there in the backstretch, Always a good decision to let off when you can, especially with the cushion that he has. He can make wise decisions like that. Doesn't have to really push real hard right now. He's kind of in a cushion area to where that he can kind of step back a little bit and keep control of his car more so and not get so aggressive. Glenn Burden and Jason Howard still battling it out. But as I said, Sam there creeping up on Jason just shortly behind him with 263 total laps to Jason's 265. So it's really anybody's game within those three, as the rotations will push some to the higher lanes and the rotations will bring others to the shorter lanes. And the shorter lanes is really what makes the laps.
Tim, what are you using to mark your tires with? Just a white paint marker? Yeah. Yeah, I can.
All right, and we're back under racing as Glenn Burden now turning the most laps, followed by Tim Hall. Sam, you see there on black, probably most likely Sam and Gerald both going to be turning the majority of the laps this time. But now it seems that Gerald has given up to Sam, and Sam is turning over to start turning those laps. As Jason is in danger currently being on the highest lane there is, the longest lane. So he's really going to have to just give it everything he's got to carry that speed throughout red. Uh, and I'll tell you, when you start carrying those kind of speeds, especially on red, that back end will step out a lot of the times and catch maybe that outside wall. So currently watching him run it, he is running clean and staying ahead, keeping pace for sure. So as his pace you see in this track, he's doing very well on red. But as you can tell, there in red lane, it is the trash lane, and you tend to always get hit up in it. as you see, it looks like Sam just took Jason off of third place, which was to be expected, as Jason had really nothing he could really do there on red lane. Running actually, to be honest, running a really good red lane. As we seen at the very beginning there, he was holding pace in front of everybody else. Yeah, every lap they were gaining probably, I would say, 100th or so of a second on him. But really what got Jason wasn't his driving skill. What actually got him was just that he was in the trash lane. And when people wreck down there on Dead Man's Corner, that's exactly where those cars go. So condolences to Jason currently at this time for, being on red lane. But like I said, we still have 2 more heats to go. And Jason, when it's all said and done, will be on blue. So he's going to get his lap changes over to be able to be on the fast lanes when it's all said and done. So he might be able to reel it back in and get that third position, as everybody else will be starting to be on the opposite end of the spectrum. They'll be going to the longer end lanes. See Gerald there probably fixing to take Jason if they all stay on. But really, it looks bad, but as the rotations go, like I said, he'll climb right back up once he's on these faster lanes. And the key to slot car racing is not to let that get to your mind. When you're on these slower lanes, don't let that stuff get to you, because everybody has to run these lanes. So think of it in terms of like this: when you're on red, I want to turn the most laps that red's seen. So at the end of these races, you can look up there on the statistics of how many laps people have turned on red. It's only up there for about 25 seconds, but you can see it and say, well, this heat, they turned, let's say, 60 laps on red, which would be pretty astronomical, to be honest, as we look at Jason right now with 47, and he's running quite a good red lane. But let's say they run, 55 laps. So then you would have to run 56 laps to do better. As we look at red right now, the highest that has been ran is by Sam, and he has 2 laps ahead of Jason. But like I said, Jason ran a really good red lane there. And this is to benefit the people, to help them to run their next lane the best that they can. So, he's on red, so now he'll be going to green. So he'll want to run 57 laps or more to be able to, maybe reel in that third place. 57 laps also being held by Tim Hall, which has the fastest car here tonight. So if he can just beat Glenn Burden's time of 54 laps on green, then he'll be in really good shape for the next 2 consecutive laps. But really, who knows at this given point how this race is going to turn out. Because like I said, gears go out in this race, and axles break. We had an axle break last night on Tom Payton in the NASCAR race. He took a real big shot in the back end, and once he took that shot, it broke his rear axle. All these things are detrimental to the mental state of the person, and then on top of that, it's really detrimental to your car also, as you got to be the one to put it on a block, get it back bent, and make sure you got braids really good and not wore out. And it's all a maintenance thing, keeping your car as free as possible. When I say free as possible, I'm talking about how the wheels move just by themselves. Like if you was to take the crown gear, move it to the side and spin the wheels, is that thing spinning like it's on ball bearings, or is it, as soon as you let off, it's instantly stopping in your hands? That stuff matters, as these motors have to overcome that type of inertia to be able to have a real fast car. So that's why I say preparation is key. Also, kind of keeping your eyes ahead of the car is also key, so that you don't get involved in any kind of wrecks that you could avoid. Because it's always better to let off and wait for that track call, as it is to plow right through and get an extra 2 inches. But now that you got a front end of your car is completely damaged or broken. So these are all just strategical type things you got to keep in your head when racing, and just race your lane. I've heard it a many a times, especially from people that's been racing slot cars for many years. Consistency and staying racing your own lane is the key to victory. And if you can do that and keep your car straight and well maintained throughout the race, as these guys do, you will make a podium here for sure, and you will get a victory here, because whoever has the most mental capacity to take this type of stress load and keep their car on the whole time will win this race. We're fixing to go green here again. Tim Hall currently still leading. Actually has quite a big cushion. Looks like we got a racer off right here. Of course, Bo's off. It looks like maybe, let's see who, maybe Tim Hall getting his car in there. All right, we're back under green. As you can see, the median times there showing the average lap times of each individual. Glenn Burden currently having the best mean time, tied with Gerald on black, which Gerald has a little bit of making up to do to catch Sam. This is his opportunity, as he has the inside line right now on black, versus Sam, who is on yellow. He's a little bit higher, but believe it or not, that 2 or 3 foot does matter. And we got a hard hit there on the high banks there, as it looks like Tim Hall was involved in that accident, and what may look to be Jason Howard, I think. Nope, not Jason Howard. It is Gerald's car. So Gerald running to try to catch some of those laps that could have caused a bend to take place. More than likely not, as the damage is usually inflicted mostly onto these Lexan bodies. And these chassis are also made of brass, which is a softer metal, but it can take quite a lick before it completely makes it to where the cars are undrivable. Looks like Tim Hall, though, took quite a bit of damage there as he's in the pits, maybe putting his car on the block to make sure it's running clean. He's got right now right at a 30-something lap lead here, so he's got quite a bit of a cushion. So we keep an eye there on Gerald's car. We can see that it didn't receive too much damage, as he is still reeling cars in there, making a decision whether or not to pass the cars there on purple. And he made a decision, a wise decision at that Gerald doesn't have to let off because he's on black lane. It's the really the option of the people that are on the outside of him that have to let off, because he has advantage, and anytime that you have advantage, you need to exploit it as much as possible while racing, because there ain't no friends in racing if you get right down to it. And when they're on that black lane, everybody can be a victim pretty much to that black lane. As you see him pushing that black lane there, a wise decision for purple there to let off and let black by, but wreck was still caused. I'm here with Bo McPherson. Recently took him out of the race because of a reversed pinion, and going to kind of give an explanation of what happens when you do reverse a pinion. So when you have the pinion, it's just a little tiny gear that goes to the crown gear, which is the bigger gear, the plastic gear that can take a lot of damage. When you put them on backwards, there's a beveled side and a non-beveled side. The beveled side is the side that you push down. The non-beveled side is the side that pretty much holds the crimp. But if you reverse that and you force it onto the non-beveled side, then what ends up happening is you got one tiny little area that the gear makes a mesh with. And if that strips out, then there's nothing for that pinion to grab onto. But if you have it the right way, it has to strip that whole pinion out. to where it's connected to the crown gear. And a lot of the times you can push the pinion on even further and get a little bit more life out of it. But, lesson learned, right, Bo?
Yep.
So
All I
Bo
gotta do
knows
is
now.
pull it off and flip it around and suck her back in there, and I could be ready to go. But I'm gonna just wait for Cup Series.
Yeah, and, it gives
Let
you
the
a
finger
good...
have a little bit of rest.
Yeah, it gives the little finger a little rest and, get your mind back ready for that NASCAR
I
race.
got pizza in my belly, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Still got another hour and a half though.
Yeah, we still have the orange track to go here, as this is a Duel GRC race. And in the Duel GRC race, the way that it works here at Lanes Raceway is that you have to run both these races to be able to be into the pot, I guess you would say, for getting first, second, or third in the podium to get track bucks here. It's a very, I guess you would say, prestigious type race here at Lanes Raceway. It is the biggest payout race of the week that we have currently until we start the league races, which I'm currently taking names for that. And when I take these names, only 12 individuals will be able to enter the Fairview Cup race, which is our NASCAR Cup race that Bo won last night. They're just pretty much practice races right now. We give out a 50% payout of track bucks. But whenever we start the league, of course, we'll have sponsors and stuff like that for individual races, and Fairview IT, of course, sponsoring the full race series. That's why it's called Fairview IT Cup. And these monies that comes in will be paid out through a point structure at the end of the year, which I think the way that Bo's been racing, I'll let him speak for himself, but I think the way that he's been racing here currently in that series is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
I hope so. And I really thought I wouldn't like this slot car stuff, but I'm in love with it. So if y'all need to just come out here and try it. It's awesome. Donovan will sell it to you. I tell you that.
I will. That's my slogan here. Anytime these guys come in, Bo can attest that anytime anybody comes into this area, the shop, and they say, well, Donnie, I don't know, I might want this, I might want that, I always end it with, well, I'll sell it to you. And I will
he
sell
always
it to you.
does.
Yeah. Because I want them to have the best opportunity that they can to get these podium finishes. That's what it's about. I want to give confidence to young adults and kids alike. I want them to be brought up to where that they fight for what they get. And the harder they fight, the more that they work on these cars and do these things, the more confidence they get in themselves. And I think that's very important, especially in today's society, that people get this kind of confidence. Because, it'll help him later on in life. And I know Bo's been working really hard on his NASCARs. He's been working really hard on his GRCs, cut out his own body.
It's a little rough, but we'll get there.
Yeah, and I know he will. And all these other kids too, we can talk about Tom Payton.
Tom has really showed up. He's up there. Indy, he's probably top 3.
I would say in Indy, in my personal opinion, I think he's probably number 1.
Really? I've only watched him race once.
The boy comes out here, and you know this to be a fact.
Every day.
Braid down, does he not?
He's probably going through 5 braids a week.
Oh yeah, hands down. He'll come in here and he'll say, "Hey Donnie, I need another set of silver braid." Now, silver braid's not really all that costly. None of this stuff in slot cars really costly if you was to compare it to any of the other hobbies. But I will say this, silver braid is costly in the genre of slot cars, as it's $2.75 a pair versus our copper braid that's $1. But that's how much he thinks it helps,
It might. I need to try it because I need to get some new braids for my NASCAR and my GRC.
Well, on a chemistry type scale, I guess we all know that silver does conduct electricity better than copper, and being as we're running DC circuits here, that's something. And every little bit of something, as you know, in racing.
It helps a lot. Like soldering my bushings in, that's really helped me. Taking them turns a little bit faster and no play in them at all.
Yeah. And that's keys that you learn here. And Bo, just hanging out with all the rest of the guys that's been doing it for years, these old timers, they got them tricks, don't they, Bo?
Oh yeah, like Tim, he wanted to tell me how he can get like extra 20 feet out of his whenever the track dies.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the controller. So if you're holding that controller wide open, you'll get more coast. But then the other half of it is just the motor. Sometimes it's luck of the draw what kind of motor you get. You get a motor sometimes that'll coast, And the other times you'll get a motor that just dead stops.
Like mine.
Yep.
Mine will probably roll about 5 feet and then just die.
Yep. And I'll tell you this too, that you know, sometimes you don't want that coast, as like in like the orange track, and you know, in certain situations you don't really want that coast. You want that more grippy type motor that'll get up and take off a lot quicker, and it doesn't require that much energy for it to get up to speed. And I've noticed this over the years that if you do get a car that has a real long coast, it ain't going to give you that performance that you need in the corners and straight stretches,
Yep.
except whenever the track's cut off. Which here at Lanes Raceway, we shut the track off quite a
A
bit
lot.
in these races. But see, that game's going to change whenever we have this series coming.
Is this series? It's one series start.
We got to get 12 individuals. We get 12 individuals, and of course, you know, podiums and where you finish in all these races. Is we take snapshots of all this at the end of the night. You know that. We're going to take in consideration and give those that have been here racing and getting those podium finishes more of that advantage. So if you've gotten, like Tim, for instance, he's gotten several wins. Tom's got several wins. You got several wins. All that factors in. So, you know, I'm sure you guys are going to join that. You'll be right up to the top of the list versus somebody that just started or just been in one or two races, but they want to get in it because, you know, there's cash involved. You know, then that would boil down to where they've been finishing. Because we got to make a decision somehow. We want to be fair with everybody,
Yep.
but we also want the best of the best in that series. You know, that way that we're not going to be shutting the track off. So at the same time, we want to make it to where that when we don't shut the track off, that these people actually stay on the track.
That would be pretty nice.
Yeah.
Because like every time a track shuts off or something, or if it's like 2 seconds, I'm full throttle trying to get every bit of it out that I can. And it never works. I always end up in the wall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're going to take a brief intermission here as we set up for the orange track and get it ready for the next race.